y'all, hey, it's your girl Twan, and I am back with another video. So in this video, I am here to address a question. Just recently, I have been getting several questions. I've received several questions from people asking, why did I switch from Wegovy to Zepbound? Or, hey, I just watched one of your videos on you being on Wegovy and now you're on Zepbound. Well, when did you switch? That type of thing. So let me just go ahead and just get right on into it, you guys. So when I started my weight loss journey, February 22nd, 2023, yes, over 2 years ago, I started off on Wegovy. I started off on the smallest dosage, and every month my doctor worked me up to the highest dosage, which was 2.4. I titrated up every month till I got to 2.4 milligrams of being on Wegovy. I stayed on that Wegovy for a year and like 9 months. I transitioned off of Wegovy and started Zepbound on December the 4th of 2024. So I've only been on Zepbound 6 months so far. Okay. Now let's just back up. When I started Wegovy, everything was going great. I think my first week I lost like 6 pounds. It started doing really great until I got to like maybe 5 months in the journey, and then it started slowing down. 5 or 6 months, somewhere up in there. It started slowing down tremendously. And my doctor kept saying to me, she's like, you're not really losing much weight. As my other clients, I think, we may need to get ready to switch you to Zepbound. FDA just approved it. And there's 2 medications in one. It's a GLP, like the Wegovy with the GIP, and it'll help you to lose more weight. So she kept saying these things to me, and I was already kind of scared about even being on Wegovy, so I didn't want to switch to no Zepbound. So we went round and round for several months, and she kept, talking to me about it, and she was like, at that time, you guys, I was working out hard. I was walking 6 days a week for an hour and 20 minutes doing 4 miles every single morning for 6 days a week, okay? And then I would go to the gym maybe like 3 days a week, or then at some point I stopped going to a gym and started going to a boot camp for like 3 days a week. I was doing all of that, at the boot camp to lift weights and things like that. And I was monitoring, tracking my foods, doing everything like I needed to do. And my doctor told me, she said, you are the patient that all physicians want. I mean, she told me that. She was like, you're doing everything that we want our patients to do. We can't get our patients to, work out, walk, track their foods, all these things that you're doing. She was like, but they're losing way more weight than you. And she just kept going on and on and on and on. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? Let me just start researching this Zepbound on my own. So I started watching multiple content creators, that were posting videos. I started going to Reddit, TikTok, IG, just trying to figure out, what is this Zepbound? What is it really doing so spectacular, that my doctor wants me on it so bad, I started doing a little research, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I might, but then I kept straddling the fence with it. And then what made me really decide to go ahead and start the Zepbound is when I injured myself at boot camp, and I had to go to a sports medicine doctor. And when that sports medicine doctor explained to me what all was going on with me, and he, commended me for losing the weight that I've lost so far and everything. But he said to me, you are working out real hard to be on this medication. A lot of people don't work out as much as you do. And it took for that second person to tell me that, that second provider. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to, look into something else. When I had to go back to him and get an injection in my knee, and for him to tell me that I had on perfect shoes, which was hopeless. I had them on at his appointment. He said, so you got on great shoes that's helping you to not have so much pressure on your knees, and he was just explaining things to me and everything. And I was like, maybe I am working out too hard. Maybe I do need to go ahead and switch to this Zepbound so I don't have to work out as much anymore, because I had developed arthritis in both of my knees, and it was just a lot going on. So I said, okay. And I continued to watch other videos, and I noticed that a lot of people that was on Zepbound, majority, let's just say that, I'll make sure I choose my words carefully because I don't want to offend anybody out there who are tracking. There's majority of the content creators that I saw on Zepbound or Mounjaro, because they're the same medication, they didn't track. I was doing that. They weren't exercising like I was 6 days a week, at least 2 hours a day, pretty much, or hour. Let's just say I was doing, around 2 hours a day because I was going to the gym. Plus I was doing my hour and 20 minutes walking. They weren't doing all that. And they was just dropping the weight. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to go ahead and switch. So I went round and round, you guys. Still was on the fence, didn't want to switch. But I finally gave in, and my doctor started working with my insurance company, and my insurance company was like, well, we'll approve the Zepbound, but it's on a different tier. So that means I would have had to pay $600 and some out of pocket, right? And I was like, I'm not paying it. And then people was like, oh, Twan, why don't you get the Zepbound discount savings card? Okay, I got that. Then the fee went from $600 and some to $450 some. I was like, that's still too much. I'm not paying anything, zero zilch for Wegovy, so let me just stay on this for a while and just see what happens. So then the insurance company was like, well, we can put the Zepbound down in the tier, which was tier 2 with the Wegovy, but you got to take and try some of these other medications first. So my doctor said, okay, well, let's do the Saxenda. So I started Saxenda. I think I did 6 weeks on that Saxenda. I gained weight big time on that Saxenda. I was going up like every week. I think I did like 4 weeks, on the 4 or 6 weeks. I didn't do long. Make a long story short. Then my doctor put me on phentermine. I was scared of dear life to do that phentermine with the Wegovy. She put me back on Wegovy and the phentermine. That first week, I said, I'm not sure about this phentermine. She said, just do half tablet. So I did the half tablet of phentermine. Do y'all know? I lost 7 point some pounds that first week because that Saxenda had me retaining so much fluid, so much water. So that was what I lost. It wasn't weight. It was the water weight. It wasn't fat, rather. It was a water weight. So I did that phentermine with the Wegovy for a little while. And I was just like, I need to do something. I don't want to be on this phentermine for a long period of time. Let me just go ahead and go with the Zepbound. And I had several content creators that, were behind me, pushing me, rooting for me. Several of my son raised rooting for me. Twan, you need to switch to Zepbound. So I went for it. I paid $456 for my first box. My second box, I paid another $450 some for my second box of Zepbound. Then I was able to switch insurance companies in January, and then now I pay $99 a month, a box for my Zepbound, which is a huge savings. So I'm happy about that. And it's history. Your girl is on Zepbound. Your girl is losing weight. So just to summarize everything I was saying, the reason I switched from Wegovy to Zepbound is because I was doing everything right, but the scale was barely moving. And according to my physician, my weight loss doctor, and that sports medicine doctor that I only saw twice, I was doing the work. And then I'm going to throw my dietitian in there. According to my dietitian, it was me. I was doing the work. They were telling me, you're doing the work. And then several of my content creator friends, they were, basically telling me the same thing. I like to use Cloakster for an example. Cloakster was like, Twan is Twaning. Twan was Twaning, y'all. Twan was doing her thing. That's why I was dropping like that. I was burning like 600 and some calories a day exercising. Now that I'm on Zepbound, I'm not doing 6 days a week. I'm not doing that anymore. Now I'm only exercising 4 days a week versus the 6. I'm not getting in 12,000 to 15,000 steps a day like I was doing on Wegovy. Now I'm doing 7,000 to 8,000 steps on Zepbound and only working out 4 days a week. I'm not walking an hour and a half. I'm only getting on my Peloton bicycle 30 minutes to 45 minutes. You see the difference? A huge difference. My body feels so much better. Y'all don't hear me complaining anymore about my knees, especially this right knee. Y'all don't hear that anymore from me. All of that stress I was putting on my body, just pounding on my joints, pounding. All that walking, I'm not doing that anymore. So I feel good that I'm still losing, like an average of 1.5 pounds a week, because I'm not working out as hard as I used to. So it's working. This Zepbound is doing its thing. It's working. But Twaun is Twauning too. Let's just say that. The Zepbound may be zapping, but Twaun is Twauning too. Don't forget that. That's what's most important. The Zepbound is zapping, but Twaun is Twauning. Yes, I am doing my thing. And I feel good about it, you guys. I'm not so stressed anymore with all the exercising, and all that. I'm doing it. I'm not going to stop exercising, but it's not as much as I had been doing. I'm not going as hard as I had been doing. Like that sports medicine doctor told me, he was surprised that I was walking 4 miles a day. He was like, most people your size don't move like that. They're not as agile, as you are. He was shocked at some of the things that I was doing. He was like, that boot camp? He was like, listen, I'm younger than you, and I can't keep up with no boot camp. He was like, when I go to the gym and I walk into those group fitness classes, and the first thing I do, I tell the instructor, don't expect me to do everything that you're doing. He had me laughing. He was so funny. But I was happy that he was transparent, to share, his journey and things like that, because he had lost weight too, Yeah, so that is why, you guys, Twaun was doing everything right. I was tracking my foods, working out. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, staying within my caloric intake, all that. But according to my physician, I was moving slow, and other patients of hers were surpassing me, even on the Wegovy. And they weren't doing half of what I was doing. So she knew that the medicine wasn't working for me like it was supposed to. Let's just say that. And it happens. Everybody's body is different. So you can't expect for, what's going on with me and how the medication is helping me to do the same thing for you. Let's just say that. Because, we all have different genetics. Our metabolism is not the same. We don't have the same amount of muscle mass. There's a lot of things that contributes to a person's journey. So don't compare 100%. Okay? When you watching my channel or anyone else, don't compare 100%. With that being said, I hope I have explained and clarified enough to you all. I am not knocking Wegovy at all. I thank God for Wegovy, because had it not been for Wegovy, I would not have gotten down to, I think, 95.7 pounds I lost. I had initially lost like 97 point something, but then I ended up gaining that last week. It was crazy, right? The last week on the Wegovy, I gained. Oh, wow. Maybe that was my sign that I needed to move on to Zepbound. But with that being said, you guys, I hope I've answered your questions. If I have not, please continue to leave your comments. I will address them. Listen, I had about 3 people to say, I know you might have already addressed this. I hope I'm not having you to repeat, the same question. I don't mind repeating. I know there are some people that be like, well, I already addressed that. I've seen it happen before. They'll say that in their videos. I'm not like that, because if you come to my channel right now today and it's your very first time, you may have not seen, well, you have not seen videos that I've done 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I can't tell you, go back and watch those videos. No, I'm not going to do that. Now, I have referred people to other videos because it was too much to explain in the comment. Like for instance, right now I'm taping this video. This video here is already over 10 minutes. You know, I couldn't explain all this to you in the comments. So that is the reason why there were several people I went back and found old videos and responded to them and then added that link to the comments so they can go watch that. And there were a few people I said, you know, I will be doing a video on that later. Or come to my live and on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a plug. For those of you that don't know, I go live on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are available, if you can, tune in to my live. That's when I'm on live talking. I'm reading your comments and I'm addressing them right then. I also allow people the opportunity to come up where they can show their face as well, right alongside by mine. And they can share their journey and ask me questions live if they want to. So it's totally up to you if you want to come to my live. But back to the questions, I will address them as much as possible, as detailed as possible in the comment section. But if I can't, because it's just too much to say, I'll do a video like I just did with this question here. All right, you guys, please, please, please feel free, you guys, to address other people's questions in the comment section as well, because I don't know everything. You may be experiencing something or have experienced something that I haven't, and you can answer that person's question better than I can. So please feel free to do so as well. All right, you guys, I love you guys so very much, and thanks so much for joining Traces of Twaun's Life.